Hi, I'm Tanya, and today we're going to start with our feet. So go ahead and find a comfortable position for you to sit in. If you need to have your hips propped up and you want to sit on a bench or a yoga block or a pillow, anything that you need to make it more comfortable for you to be able to hold your leg up. If it's really uncomfortable for you to sit in a position like this, you can always turn onto your stomach and lie on your stomach on the floor and do your ankle rolls here. But if you can, we'll come into a seated position and get our hips into a nice deep hip flexion here. And we're going to just roll the ankle 10 times nice and slow. 3, really push the end ranges of your circle of your ankle. 5, 6, so that you're really mobilizing the joint to its greatest capacity that you have. 8, 9, and 10, and now reverse your circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we'll go to the other leg. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to make sure that you're keeping your lower leg still and that you're only moving from the ankle. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, now we're going to come to the knee joint. So if you can see our tibia bone right here, I don't know if you can see sort of the top notch of my tibia bone, but when I swivel my lower leg, that tibia bone moves in the knee joint. And so that's what we're going to be working. So you're going to lift your leg up, and again, if you need to do this lying on the floor on your stomach, you can. We want to keep the thigh still, and we're just going to move at the knee joint, turning the foot in, lift it up, turn it out, and lower down. And 2, lift up, out, and lower down. And 3, up, out, and lower down. 4, lift, out, and lower down. And again, we want to take it slow so that we get that time under tension. And let's just do 5 in each direction. So now we're going to change. Turn out as we lift, in as we lower. And 2. We don't want to go completely straight. We go just before straight and turn it in and lower down. And 3, lift, in and lower down. 4, up, in and lower down. Last time, 5, up and lower down. Good. Okay, now we'll come to the other leg. Turn it in, lift, out, and lower down. 2, up, out, and lower down. 3, lift, turn out, and lower down. 4, up, out, and lower down. And 5, lift, turn out, and lower down. Reverse directions. Turn out as you lift, in as you lower. 2, in and lower down. 3, lift. Again, remember you want to keep your thighs still. 4, we're just pivoting the shin bone. And 5, and lower down. Good. Okay, so now we're going to come to the hips. So we're going to be on our hands and knees, and we want to try to really stabilize the spine and pelvis as much as we can, and we're just going to move the leg in the hip joint. So we're going to bring the leg up into flexion, pulling the thigh up towards the chest, and you're going to open like a door. So I've come into flexion, I'm going to open like a door. So I'm going to try to pull my knee out so that my inner thigh is facing forward, and I'm going to try to push my ankle forward. From here, I'm going to come into abduction, which means my thigh is perpendicular to the floor and is parallel with my standing leg, but then I'm going to lift it out to the side, but I want to make sure that I don't tip over and lean my pelvis over or bend my spine and all. So I just come straight out. And we're going to come around to the back and lift the thigh in the back. And when you lift the thigh in the back, you want to make sure that you don't arch your back. So we come forward into flexion, open into external rotation, lift into abduction, and come around to the back into extension. Try to keep your knee bent the whole time. And if you want to put a little ball or a rolled up towel in the back of your knee and squeeze that to help you keep your knee joint closed, you can. Because we really want to just focus on the hip joint. One more time this way, bring it forward, open like a door, lift to the side, and take it around to the back. Come back to your center, and we'll reverse. Take it back, keep the spine neutral, come around to that abduction, then lift the knee and bring it forward into flexion. 2, around to abduction, try to keep your hips as square as you can, lift and bring it around. And 3, abduction, external rotation, flexion, we'll do one more. 4, around, and through. Okay, now we'll do the other side. Okay, we'll bring it forward, open like a door, then lift the thigh out to the side, but keep the hips square. Take it around to the back, extend the hip. Bring it through. Here's our hip flexors. Here's our hip rotators. Here's our abductors. And here's our hip extensors. Bring it through. 3, open like a door. Lift the leg out to the side, around to the back. Last time. 4, open like a door. Take it to the side and around to the back. Come to center. Okay, we reverse. Take it back. Open to the side. Open like a door and bring it forward. And around. Bring it through and forward one more time. Take it back. Around to the side. Open like a door and bring it forward. And bring it down. Okay, so from here, let's go to some cat-cows. So again, on your hands and knees. And if this is uncomfortable for you, if you have any knee issues or any wrist issues, for example, if you needed to do that hip series on your side, you could do that. So the next time you follow through with the tape, you can do it this way on your side. All the same cues apply. While we're doing cat-cow, if for any reason you can't be in this position, you could be, where's my step stool? You could be seated on a bench or on a chair, and you could do cat-cow, flex into cat, and extend into cow. You could do these seated if you need to. Okay, so on our hands and knees, if that works for you, wrists are right under your shoulders, knees are right under your hips. You have that natural arch in your low back, but you're still pulling your abdominals and your ribs up into your body, but not so much so that it makes you tuck in your neutral starting position. Pull your shoulder blades back, and we're gonna just do 2 big cat-cows to start with. So curl everything up into cat, and extend everything out into cow. And curl up into cat, and extend out into cow. Now from this cow position, we're going to start to mobilize the spine 1 vertebra at a time. We're going to start from the tailbone, keeping the shoulder blades pulled back, allowing the chest to sink in between the shoulder blades. You're going to tuck the tailbone. Use your low abdominals. It's the front of our body that's going to flex, that's going to contract, which flexes our spine. So starting from those low abdominals, using your glutes and your hamstrings to tuck the tailbone under. Start to work up 1 vertebra at a time, up the back, and eventually to the neck and head. Now, starting from the tailbone, we're going to reverse that. So you're going to pull the pelvis away from the rib cage. Start to lift the tailbone. Try not to move any other portion of your back. You want to really focus and concentrate on moving each vertebra 1 at a time, melting the spine down. Pull the shoulder blades down the back as you come to the mid and upper back. Extend through the chest. And now we're going to start from the head. So we're going to drop the head. Lift the upper back up to the ceiling. Remember, it's the front of our body that's contracting, that's flexing the spine. So you're going to feel like you're pulling your collarbones up into your body. Feel like you're pulling your sternum up. Then the bottoms of your rib cage, your abdominals, your belly button, and finally tucking the tailbone. Now from here, we're going to extend. So start from the head. Lift the head. Think about reaching the chest forward, pulling the shoulder blades back, and letting the spine melt down. It's actually our back muscles that are contracting, and we want to work from the top down. Feel your pelvis pull away from your ribs, and lift your tailbone in the air. Once you've gotten all the way down the spine, keeping your hips over your knees, stretch your arms forward and drop down. It's like a downward dog on your knees. You want to push your your hands into the floor, like you're pushing away. Keep your forearms lifted off of the floor if you can, and pull your tailbone away from your fingertips and let your chest drop. Okay, now walk your hands back and sit back into a child's pose. Whatever works for you. If you can't get all the way down into a child's pose, just come to whatever position you can with a soft, rounded back. And drop that down. Okay, now we're going to come to a shifting cat-cow. So we're going to come forward and take one leg out to the side and still try to be square. Wrists right under shoulders, knees under hips. You're going to keep the back flat, and as you shift back, think about lifting your tailbone in the air so that you don't, try not to tuck and round back, but you want to stay with as flat of a back as you can and come forward. Okay, so with one leg out to the side, nice long spine, pull the shoulder blades back, shift back, and come forward. And shift, and come forward. 3, 4, and 5. Good, now hold here, and we're gonna spiral. So we're gonna open up to the ceiling as much as you can, And then as you come through, you can bend that opposite elbow and twist and come through. And open. Try to keep reaching into the outer blade of that extended leg. And through. 3. 4. And 5. All the way through. Come back to center and we switch sides. Okay, flat back, shift back, and come forward. So we're getting movement of the pelvis over the thigh bone, which is a different movement than we usually get. Usually we get the leg moving in the hip joint, but now we're getting the pelvis moving over the leg. One more time. And we're also getting glide of our shoulder muscles over our spinal muscles. Now we're going to rotate. And through. And open. And through. 3. And through. 4. And through. One more time. And come back to center. Come back to all fours, and we'll finish with 2 cat-cows. Just big movements, curl up and extend out. This just gets both sides of the body working together again. Curl up and out. Okay, now come to a straddle position. Again, if you are really tight through the hip flexors and this is a hard position to be in, you can get yourself a towel or some yoga blocks and just lift your hips up a little bit, and that will help. So we're going to open out to our biggest straddle that we have. If you can, hands behind the head. If not, you can support your fingertips on the floor. And what you want to do is really long spine, and we're going to hinge at the hip. We're going to come forward. Keep the back long and flat. Don't round over, because what we're wanting is mobility here in the hips. It's not so much about the mobility in the spine here. So we're going to keep a flat back, come forward, hold for a second, and then long spine, come back up. And again, forward, and back up. We'll go one more time. Forward, hold, and come back up. Now we're going to stretch the latissimus dorsi, which is a big muscle that runs down our back. It attaches at the head of our arm and goes all the way down and attaches at our pelvis. So I want you to keep your hip bone back. So if I'm mirroring you, this would be your left hip bone. You're going to keep that pulled back as you stretch across and reach to the outside of your right leg. So as I reach, I don't know if you can see, I pull my hip back. And that's going to give a big stretch to that latissimus dorsi muscle. Good. Now let's walk through center. Again, keep that long spine. Take it around. And now I'm going to be reaching with my right hand to the outside of my left leg, and I'm going to pull my right hip back, your right hip actually. Take some breaths here. And we're going to walk it through center. See if you're any lower now. We're going to do one more time on each side. Pull your left hip back, stretch across. Take a few breaths. As you do, remember to pull your hip back as you stretch the arm. We'll walk it over again now to the left leg. Pull your right hip back. And walk it back to center. Are you any lower than when you started? Let's see if you can get down any lower. Remember, still keep the back long and flat, and then bring it up. Okay, we're gonna go hands behind the head and go side to side. I'll start to your right, and go down. Think about leaning away from your hip rather than just bending the spine. So we're gonna stretch away, and then to the other side. And stretch away. You're going to do 2 more on each side. Here's 4 and 4 and 5 and 5. Okay, bring it back together into butterfly. And try to press the knees down to the floor using just the muscles of your hips. Okay, pulling down to the floor. Let's hold that pulling down energy for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now brace your legs where they are, either with your hands or your elbows, and you're going to try to squeeze your knees together, but you're going to brace them so that it's an isometric press. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and one more time we're going to press down to the floor. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and last time we're going to squeeze together. So when we are working our joints like this, we want to strengthen them at their end ranges. So that's why we're doing these isometric pull and pushes at the end range that we have to strengthen where the muscle connects into the joint. And as that muscle gets stronger at those end connections, we'll gain more mobility in our joints. Good, go ahead and release that. Bring the knees together. And I hope you enjoyed today's session, and I look forward to working with you again.